Willingham. Unfortunately, she was not well enough to be here today, so I'm stepping in and putting on one of my old hats, my minister reverend hat. And one of the, thank you. One of the pleasures I have is introducing our guest speaker, Liz Morante, today. She is one of Reverend Marla's early teachers and mentors, and we are privileged to have her. I know that her teaching and the wisdom that she is will be a blessing to all of us. She has been a minister with Centers for Spiritual Living since 1999, receiving her ordination in 2003. She hails from Seattle, where she did her ministerial training and raised her 2 daughters. She moved to Monterey in 2008 to take the pulpit of the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. And stepping down from that pulpit at the end of 2013, she is not retiring, but rewiring, and happy to be back in her beloved Pacific Northwest. A quote from the Sufi master Meher Baba encapsulates the theme of Liz's ministry. Where love is present, the path to truth is joyous. So let's welcome her today. Thank you for being here. The reading that Reverend Marla has chosen for today is taken from our new book of the month, In the Flow of Life by Eric Butterworth. It starts off our new theme, Your Best Year Yet. Listen with your spiritual ears. The only decision you have to make is the decision to begin. The decisions what to do and which way to go should not be made. They should be discovered. Life is whole and complete. And even when you may be seeing it in part, there is always a right answer in that stream of power and wisdom within. It is that in you that knows beyond your conscious knowing. If you lowly listen, you will hear the right word, and the directions will easily unfold. This doesn't mean doing nothing, saying Pollyanna style, oh, it will work out, I will just wait for an answer. Remember, when you plug into a power source or turn on the light switch, there is no delay in the flow. Be still and know that you are in the flow, and then move with it. There is a creative intention working in you. It is a force that transcends mistakes and wrong choices and makes all things work for good. It is like an organist who may touch a wrong note and create a dissonance, and who skillfully uses that wrong note as a leading tone by which to modulate into a new key. She or he makes it appear as if the whole progression was intended that way, as if it were the only way it could have been. May this reading dive deep into our hearts, expand our minds, and bless the living of our lives. Join me in affirming it together. You can read it from the screen, or there is always printed on the back of the card in your bulletin insert, if you prefer to read it from there. I live in the flow of life, confident that all is well in the mind of God, so all is well in my life now. Every doubt is immediately converted to certainty. Every fear is effortlessly converted to faith. As I live in the flow of life, an abiding sense of happiness and peace permeates my being, and I live my best year yet. And so it is. Let's stand and affirm together, if able.
I know you guys would be happy if they just sang the whole time. So would I. I also have years with them too. So when Reverend Marla told me that they were going to be my backup today, I was like, yay! So this is a good day. What a great day to begin the year. And how great to be with all of you. I was just thrilled when Reverend Marla asked me if I could speak. As Monica said, we've known each other for a good long time now. And I've watched her in her growth as a spiritual liver, so to speak. This is our problem with. This is our problem when we changed our name to Centers for Spiritual Living. You can always say a unity person, a person of unity, but when you're in Centers for Spiritual Living, how do you identify yourself? Spiritual liver, but that's generic. And pancreas and heart. Anyway, I've watched Marla over the years in her journey in that and then ministry. And she told me recently, we had dinner with her and Patty a couple months ago, and she said, oh man, I have my best job ever now. So she loves so much being here with you guys. And I just honor this community for how long you have been here, being a beacon of New Thought message. So thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Now, boy, I'll tell you, being a minister who, as most of us, loves to speak and doesn't speak very often, it's very difficult to go, oh my God, I'm going to tell you 3 months worth of things since the last time. And I've got a lot I want to do this morning, so I'm going to know that clarity is being downloaded through me, as well as conciseness. Is there a noun, concision? I don't know. Conciseness. So this is, if any of you read the little blurb I sent, this is, as Mary Manamorrissey said, a brand new baby new year. And when I was thinking about this talk, before I had any idea particularly what I was going to say, I thought, you know what? Each new year is actually the gift that comes after Christmas. You know, we open the presents, we put all the stuff away, and don't really think about the fact that the best present ever is still waiting to be unwrapped. That of a brand new year. Unless, of course, we just keep living as we've always lived, making the kinds of choices we've always made, doing the same old, then it's not a new year. It's the same old year over and over. So your theme this month is to have your best year yet, or your best year ever. And I'm going to give you some ideas from our New Thought Gospel of Good News, and some context, and then talk about invite you to some ideas that can assist you in having your best year yet. And yet these, I know, these are reminders. These are reminders. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know. Everybody go, no, because you already know. So, first of all, the truth is, even though we celebrate beginning again at the new year, or September, if we have children who go back to school, or if we have Jewish roots, I don't have Jewish roots, but I love the Jewish New Year as well, is that we can always choose to begin again. Always, always, always. The thought struck me, in God there are always do-overs. So no matter what happened last year, no matter what you did or didn't do, what you intended or didn't intend, or some big thing you did, or maybe there was some little juicy, not in a good way, mistake you made, you have a do-over. You have not irrevocably damaged your life, because you can always choose to begin again. And once you choose to begin again newly, you can re-choose and make a new, beautiful life for yourself. You can rewrite. You can rewrite. One of the things specifically from Science of Mind, that Ernest Holmes says, that I'm sure you're aware of this principle, is that principle, or God, is not bound by precedent. It's not bound by precedent. So it really doesn't matter who you've been, what you did. It does not matter for you to step into your beautiful new best year, a year of promise, a year of joy, a year of love, a year of prosperity. You can always begin again, no matter what. And if you have trouble believing that, then get some prayer counseling, because you will be reminded. You will be reminded. Secondly, you are all pre-approved to have your best year yet. Years ago, I went to, I think it was one of the conferences that Reverend Michael Beckwith does. He used to, I don't know if he still does, something called the Renaissance Conference. And I think it was there, although who knows, who cares. Iyanla Vanzant, you know, Save My Life, Iyanla. She appears on Oprah. She's written several books. She's kind of wonderful. Fix My Life, Iyanla. Boy, would I love to have that. Go fix. No, I can't do that. She came to speak, and she was trying to figure out what to speak, trying to figure out. It hadn't come to her. And then as she was driving to the venue, she kept seeing these ads along the side of the road that said, "You are pre-approved." We see it on TV, we see it in magazines, and of course that meant a loan. And all of a sudden it dawned on her. That's it. We have all been pre-approved before we even took birth. We were pre-approved by Spirit, approved of to live flat out, to step into our joy. That is absolutely the truth of who we are. So whatever you are choosing or wanting to step into for yourself, it's not like you have to keep asking God, is it okay, is it okay? It's not like your parents whose approval you have to keep earning or may have felt in your past like you had to keep earning. If you had those kind of parents. We know none of you are those kind of parents. But in spirit, it's already done. You're already the beloved. You're already beautiful and wonderful. And the glow of spirit, already done. So just those two ideas, that you can begin again and that you're pre-approved, I hope free you from anything you may still be carrying from last year, from your life. Then the third reminder I want to make that's also in the book we'll be talking about is that we know, as people of New Thought, that life is to be lived from the inside out. That whatever it is that we want to step more fully into, we have to begin in consciousness. It's not about fixing those things or changing those things on the outside. Remember that old line, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic? You have to shift inwardly. And I'll tell you, and I don't need to tell you, is that this day and age, there's a lot of compelling stuff out there that throws us off. A lot of compelling stuff. Although if you read in the flow, if you read stuff written 40, 50 years ago, New Thought ministers and other writers are always saying you can't get stuck in appearances. You can't get stuck in what's going on and react from there. You have to move into the inside until you see and know and feel that which is already well, as our affirmation said. So we begin to have that life that is wonderful, that is lived flat out. We have to start within, withdrawing our gaze from the stuff and moving within. I had such a great reminder last night as the storm came through. I was watching actually this morning, watching the clouds still shooting. And if I got stuck on any of those clouds, oh, look at that cloud. Oh, that cloud's awful. My life is going to be terrible. I hate that cloud. I don't like it. It's not pretty. Oh, it's gone. So why put my attention on the clouds? I need to have my attention on the sun that is always there, even when I can't see it. And just in case you weren't aware of this, which I think you are, is that the world needs us to live from the inside out. The world needs us not to react to what we see, not to meet the lack of civility we see with the knee-jerk reactions of anger. That is why more than ever, we people of faith, and especially who understand the power of consciousness, need to move within. So we choose. we choose how we want to show up. We choose how we want to be. And we choose to see the beauty that is possible in this world, the peace that is possible in this world. So that's context. That's the context for living your best year yet. And if I just concluded with that, and you had all taken brilliant notes, I think you would live your best year yet. But let's take some other things, specifically from In the Flow, the book that you have for this month. This is fabulous. Have any of you read it yet? I read this actually for a book club when I was living in Monterey still, and oh my gosh, it is such a good book, and it was so tempting to just like read quotes from every page. They're that good. And he certainly talks about the need to live life from the inside out. But what he is really stressing for us to become awake to or reawaken to is that idea of flow that is not new. The Taoists talked about this in the Tao Te Ching, in Lao Tzu, and all those things. They were talking about the Tao that cannot be named. Step into the river. And Tao means way, by the way, the way. So they're talking about the way of flow, that it is something that exists. We don't create it. We don't change it. We don't make it happen in our lives. We reawake to it. It is, and it is available fully to every one of us, no matter how many books we have or haven't read, how many prayers we have or haven't done. And sometimes better to those who haven't filled their brains with a lot of spiritual shoulds. Isn't that sad? We still have spiritual shoulds. But it is that which, as the reading said, guides us. Have you ever experienced where you something happened that you didn't think was, that you thought was going to make stuff not work out? You know, those things that happen that make stuff not work out, but you kind of had to keep going, and then it turned out to be better than you thought it was going to be in the way that you thought it was going to be? You think it was 8:30 the way things are coming out of my mouth. But when stuff seems to go awry and you keep following it, and then you find out it's more beautiful than you could have chosen, that's the flow working. And if we can just trust that, and just is one of those things, simple but not easy, if we can just trust that and remember when things seem to go a little wonky, to go, wait a minute, let me breathe and remember that there is a divine flow living me, a divine flow I am living in, so that we don't have to waste all that energy being angry and resisting and getting us scared, afraid. Because it is. In fact, it is so there, it is so for us. One of the ways that Butterworth talks about it, he says, it is a longing in the heart of the universe to flow through us. So it isn't divine flow, me, here I am. It is already through that love of the universe wanting to flow through us. So again, pre-approved, don't have to earn it. It is there waiting for our recognition of it. And when we do that, the purpose, I think, of that is we, as Robert Browning, that poet of so many hundreds of years ago, said, we release the imprisoned splendor that is in us. Being in that flow does not make us all the same. It allows us to each be more fully, individually, the beauty of who each of us is. That unique divine expression. Butterworth talks about it as being windows of God, us being windows of God. And I add to that, really, we are windows for God. If I could sum up one way of saying the purpose of life, or if God has will for us, it is to be a window of it, of its love, of its peace, of its joy, of its power, of its beauty, of its wisdom. And when we are in the flow, that's when we are able to fully be those transparencies for God. Now, we do get out of the flow, and quite easily. And how do we do that? Our thoughts. Our thoughts like, oh, this is never going to work out. Oh, I wonder if this is happening. Oh, that cloud, that cloud. And Ernest Holmes, again from Science of Mind, says, if we could just release those thoughts that block us from divine flow, our lives would be so easy. So easy to know that flow is going through us. The best way to get into flow is through prayer. Not prayer asking God to do something, not again begging to be led into the flow, but prayer as we know that affirmation that says, I am in divine flow. Butterworth characterizes it as synchronizing ourselves. Because remember, we're not creating it. We're just synchronizing ourselves with that which already is. With that which already is. So I would like to invite us to have as a primary intention for this year, and you can do whatever you want, but rather than have goals, we've all done the goal thing. How many of you complete your goals by like June or? All right. Sometimes goals just keep getting us fixated on what's out here or what's right here. What's right here? Full disclosure, stop. But intentions can be so much bigger and be more from the inside out. And so if we want to have an intention being windows for God, then being in that consciousness of being that expression allows us to draw to ourselves all that which we deeply desire. And it comes in a divinely organic way without us sort of figuring out, oh my gosh, I should have 25 goals. It's just have that intention to express God more fully. And what I think is kind of wonderful and fun and maybe a way to really try on this brand new baby year is to have as your originating intention a quality of God that is yours to express this year. So it could be peace, it could be joy, it could be love, it could be power, it could be beauty, it could be something that rises up for you. But I think for each of us, being who we've come here to be, is about expressing that. We may call it by other names, but that there is something that is uniquely, beautifully each of yours to express, that those strong words of God, those qualities of God become anchors and deepening places, lightning rods, if you will, to position us to be. And if we identify that for ourselves and be that in the world, it raises our lives beyond the norm. and certainly beyond the reaction to what's going on, and allowing us to be places where healing can happen, where the world we want to see can happen. And right now, that kind of life is uncommon. But if we choose to take it on, if this room chooses, other rooms choose, then it won't be so uncommon anymore. And maybe we will create the world we want to see. So, how do you do that? Well, daily sync. Daily sync. It seems that every time I speak, especially because I don't speak every Sunday, every time I speak, I get to say, okay, the way to do this, the way to have the life you want, the way to create this, do your daily spiritual practice. I mean, this should not be new things. I'm just reminding you, and sometimes, we need 25 people to say it. We go, oh, okay, daily spiritual practice. That daily synchronizing with that flow, with that divine. And then in that, ask, what is yours to do? What is yours to be? What is yours to express? And then the part that is difficult for some of us is to listen. Be still, and not just listen. Did you catch in the reading what Butterworth says? He says to lowly listen. To try to get all your good ideas out of the way, all your best tested from all that wisdom and experience we've had. This is the best way to do this. Get those out of the way. And listen to Spirit. It's been said, if the voice within you says something you never would have thought of, then you know it's Spirit. As long as it's of comfort or of good. Not if it's, not if it's what are you doing that for? But you knew that. You knew that. So you ask and you listen. And then you move from that place. You take that inside and bring it out. And that's, by the way, how we create heaven on earth, when we bring that which is inside us out. So I would like us to do something together today, since we can. And since, yay, I do have a couple more minutes. I would love us to use the energy of the room and combined intention to have a few moments to see what that divine expression is for each of you. What is that quality of God or of Spirit, whatever word you would like to use? What is that divine quality that wants to be expressed through you this year? It could be something you see yourselves having expressed before. It could be something you felt you couldn't. It could be a brand new idea. But let's do this divine experiment together with our combined listening, supporting each other. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to invite you to take a breath. And as you watch that breath, remember the lines from a beautiful chant, the breath of God is breathing you. The breath of God is that which is breathing you. There is a divine flow, and you are in it. You have never been outside of it. It has never deserted you. You just may have thought it wasn't there or forgotten. So as you feel yourself in that divine flow, let everything in you relax. Let your body be still, and all the frettings of your body and all that surrounds it, let that be still. And then think of Spirit as streaming, pouring, rushing, and shining into you, through you, and out from you in all directions. How is that shining out? Looking as you. What is the way that shining out of God is looking? What quality of God might be yours to express? Maybe it's beauty. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's love. And if it's not any of those, allow something else to arise up in you. The quality that is yours to express. And as that answer flows into you, see it flowing through you. And if you're willing to anchor this, then let's affirm it by saying 3 times, I am, and then say that quality. We'll say it out loud. I am love. I am love. I am love. And so as we take that into our being and then let it be released, I know and speak the word that we do indeed become transparencies. We become windows for God in the highest way possible. So that more love, joy, peace is unleashed into this world. And that by our consciousness and by our willingness to stand and be that divine expression, we lift life itself. We lift the planet itself. We live those lives beyond the norm. We live those lives uncommon, and we become both blessed and a blessing. I know that we are already approved to do this. I know that no matter what, we can begin this now. And so I see it accomplished. I give great thanks for the willingness, your willingness, to let God be God through you, flow through you. Thank you, Spirit. I release this word knowing it is already done, and so it is.